I am going to continue on with my Fresh Reads vlog, and I will pick this up again when I start 1,000 Threads by Neneh Cherry, and I will update you as well on my status with my Fresh Reads for March. About the halfway point in Neneh Cherry's 1,000 Threads, a memoir, and yeah, this is great. This is very readable. It's very accessible. Neneh Cherry's voice is very much like she's telling you a story. You're just sitting having tea and chatting about her life. Her life is fascinating. She had a really interesting upbringing. At this point in the book, I think we're at her being about 16 or 17. She certainly lives a very unconventional life. Having a Swedish mother and an African father and an African-American stepfather, she sees the world in just such a fascinating way, like so different from what my experience is, although she's a bit older than me, but I loved hearing about, like, her stepfather is a musician as well, so he's playing music with a whole bunch of famous people. They were both very into the art scene, and they lived in Sweden, and they lived in New York, and they lived in London, and they it's very exciting. It's a lot to just a lot to learn, and there's not too much name dropping in here. So one of the things that I think can be challenging about celebrity memoir is a lot of name dropping. So it's like, if you don't know who these people are that she's referring to, the names just don't mean anything to you, and it just feels like you're reading names all the time in someone's life. So I think I'm familiar with enough of the people that she's mentioning for it not to feel like name dropping for me. If you are not very familiar with the music scenes from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, I don't know if you would find it as interesting. But certainly, there's adversity in here. There is connection in here. I love how passionate Neneh is about her parents, about, like, she just has a huge heart, and she's so she's just, I think this is one of the benefits of memoir, is that she's writing it today and looking back, right? Obviously you're doing that when you're writing autobiography as well, but she could have written this with such a different tone and with such a different perspective on the trauma that she has experienced through her childhood. And she really doesn't put blame on anyone, or she just tells the story from a place of love and openness to this is her story and this has made her who she is. So I really like that. I don't think I can say that much else about it right now. You know, it's got a great layout. I love how they incorporated the photos into here. So they have like each part has a whole section of photos that you get to look at, which is always great. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to finish it. I'm excited to read the rest and, you know, see what else has happened to her in her life. It hasn't even gotten close to where she kind of blows up and has her 15 minutes of musical fame. So I'm excited to read about that as well. But yeah, I mean, this, in terms of this being a sort of life-changing book, I certainly don't think it's in that category. So, you know, it's interesting. It's interesting on prize lists when they include memoirs because, you know, memoirs serve different purposes for different people, and different versions of memoirs serve different purposes. So for what this is and trying to do, as far as I know, it's doing a great job. So I will check in again with you when I have finished it. Hi everyone. So I finished 1,000 Threads by Neneh Cherry, and I thought that this was a really compelling and well-rounded memoir. Neneh was able to like take you through her life in a way that was very thorough because she brought in all the people who meant something to her. Well, she says at the end that she didn't talk about all of the people that she loves and all her friends, but she picked out a good selection. She edited down a good selection, I thought, that made it not too many people, but enough people that you really cared. For instance, when you learn about her mother and her stepfather, and her father actually, all three of them, her love for them is very evident. And when she loses them, you feel for her, but you also feel for the world losing them because they were really amazing people. So I really appreciated that she was able to convey not only her own love for her parents, but the kind of significance of her parents to those around them. And I thought that was very heartfelt and wonderful. And near the end of in the last part of the book, Neneh goes through some difficult times, some struggles with mental health and substance abuse, and she talks about those things in a very matter-of-fact way, but also in a very honest and honest way, a really honest way that made them feel like, you know, she's very human, and she approaches her life through her humanity. She talks at one point about how there's 16 years between her solo albums, and she was like, I was just living my life. I was being a parent. I was still there, but I just wasn't producing. I couldn't produce on constantly. And I think that's something that a lot of artists are expected to do today and are encouraged to do, is to just produce. And you see some artists doing that, and I often wonder how it's possible that they can make constantly. And she was just really honest about the fact that she was doing other things and still making music, but just in other ways, in collaboration. Working in collaboration was really important for her. And also, she was just like living her life, and a very interesting life it was, living in lots of different places, lots of travel, lots of interactions with people whose names you would recognize, and then lots of interactions with people whose names you may not recognize, but who are recognizable in other places, such as Sweden or the UK. And yeah, so I thought this was great. I wasn't blown away by anything in here. I don't think there's like some deep, profound message, and I don't think it was trying to be that. It's interesting to me that it's been chosen for the Women's Prize for Fiction, for nonfiction, a long list. I'm curious to see if it will make it onto the short list. If I had to take a guess, having only read 2 of the books, I would guess that this one would not be included, and only because, again, there's nothing, like some memoir just has that kind of, emotional, heartfelt, the big lesson I learned, and the world is beautiful feeling. And I think that this book has that, but it is an examination of her life. There isn't some sort of profound anchor that the whole memoir revolves around. And I think that those are the memoirs that tend to be exalted and, win prizes. I could be wrong. I would like, if this goes on the short list, that would be great. I think it's a very worthy memoir, and I really liked Neneh's writing style. It was very accessible, and yeah, I think it was great. So that is 1,000 Threads, a memoir by Neneh Cherry, and I'm going to end this reading fresh reads reading vlog here, and I'm going to pick up when I have my next one is going to be the Women's Prize for Fiction long list. I'm reading Good Girl by Aria Aber, so if you're interested in my thoughts on that one, you can check out the next one. And the previous one was Rebecca Nagel's book, By the Fire We Carry. So I will check in again when I've got another video to share with you. Thanks so much for watching.